Bonjour, everybody. Hi. Good morning. Good Wednesday morning. It's Wednesday, May 23rd, and you are watching Star Nation's Communications from Home. Oh my gosh, I'm in a rut. This morning is the card draw. A live stream on Star Nation's organization's main fan page. Holy cow. I must be saying that in my sleep too. I don't know. That's so funny. That is so funny. So every morning I do a card draw, and I've been using the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sams this month. And so like every morning, I drew a card this morning, and it's so funny. And I forgot my coffee too. What is it? This must be a kind of a strange morning for me. Good morning, Robin. I tell you what happened is I had a whole lot of time this morning. Mom was doing really well this morning, so we didn't have to do any pain management stuff. I had time to kind of putz around. I don't get that very often. And so I looked at the time and I thought, oh, it's time to go up to the academy and do the live stream, and grabbed all my stuff and came up here. Forgot my coffee and thought I was doing Star Nation's Communications from Home show. What was that about? That's so funny. If you can't laugh at yourself every once in a while, then life's too dang serious. Good morning, Margaret. Good to see you this morning here. And I usually do a good morning post and remind everybody that that I'm doing this live stream. And I didn't do that this morning either. And the reason is because I had all this time to putz. Come on, we've got life to live. Somebody's got to do the laundry. And so I was able to put in a load of laundry and, do the dishes before I left the house, blah, blah, blah. You guys know what that's like. And then I even had my cup of, not coffee, I was drinking coffee this morning, my tea ready to go. And I just walked out of the house without it. I was listening to the Cardinals sing. I was distracted. So I'm hoping you guys are having a good Wednesday morning. We have an interesting card this morning, one we haven't had before. Yay! It's about the North Shield. And here's the card. It's the North Shield. It's about wisdom and gratitude. Wisdom and gratitude. Notice on the card the artwork, the white buffalo, right? And many of us here at Star Nations, we are connected to the white buffalo calf woman and all that she brought to the people. And there again, in the artwork, we have the colors of the medicine wheel. Yeah, and those things hanging off from that shield, one of them is a scroll, another is a seashell, a feather, a prayer tie, and I don't know what that is on the end there. Something yellow, but I'm not sure what that is on the end. And on this, on this end, something yellow. And I know, who was it? Elise? Was it Elise that had gotten the deck, the Sacred Path card deck? So maybe at least since you have the deck, if you could take a look at this particular card, and if you can discern what that is on the end of the shield, that yellow that's on the fringes there, that would be helpful. Very helpful. Yeah. So, the North Shield is about wisdom and gratitude. And when I was reading what Jamie Sams had written about it, I thought, after how many days that we get the same cards a couple of times, like the taking of the shawl, the stone people, the multiple card medicine bowl. And most of that was about communication and trusting in our own intuition, and having conversations with our spiritual team to go to them and our higher self, our soul self first, right? And so we went we got those cards in multiple ways, and so we were able to talk about them and share about them, take in the deeper meaning of those cards. And this morning we get the North Shield. And what Jamie Sam says about the North Shield is that, of course, it lies in the north. And for her understanding of the medicine wheel, that is where the elders lie. And I call them the ancestors, but that's where for her, her Seneca roots, she talks about that's where the elders lie. That's where winter is, the color white, and that she had years and years ago, she had a dream, a vision had come to her, and it was about the North Shield and understanding what I call the spirit of the North. Good morning, Jill. Good to have you with us. And so Jamie Sam shares this vision, this dream that she had about being taken to see the elders. And how she described it is that she was taken to this place. It was like a meadow, and met up with, and it was winter in her vision, and met up with a buffalo there. And in that buffalo, when she got close to it, had her sit next to it, down in front of her, so that his breath could keep her warm. And so they were communicating, and the buffalo basically changed color right before her eyes, and that was to the color white. And when that happened, then she was taken to meet with the elders, and the elders had her, when she went to go meet them, she was sitting in the south end of the medicine wheel, looking north. And so she was, and then there was a sacred fire between them. And so she was sitting in the south and seeing. That's how I learned how to experience the physical medicine wheel, is that if I wanted to know about the spirit of the north, I would go across the wheel and I would sit or stand in the south and call to the spirit or the energy of the north to come to me. And that way it flows directly to you, through you, within you, right? It's a way of communicating. And that's how the wheel works, is that the energy from each of the directions flows into the center and then out, right? And so it does also work its way around the wheel. But if you want to know about the characteristics of a certain part of the wheel, is to go across from it and call to it for it to come to you. You can also sit in that direction to be in it, to experience what it's like to have it surrounding you, right? And you can have a conversation with the spirits there as well. But that's two different experiences. Two different ways of experiencing the medicine or the spirit of that particular direction. And so when you call to the direction, and it comes to you, eventually, when you do it often enough, you recognize the characteristic of that direction when it comes to you, right? And so that's one of the secrets of never being lost. When you're out walking, maybe even inside a building that, one of these big hotels, resort areas, and you're in charge of the of the ceremony, and you're putting together the altar and laying out the stones, and you don't have a compass. And so, calling to one of the directions, for me, it would be starting in the east, is calling to the eastern direction and having that medicine, the eastern spirit, come to me. And so knowing which direction that east was at without using a compass. Why? Because I've done it so often, and had spent time with that direction. Well, actually all of them. So, and that's just a matter of practice and doing and getting to know them as they come through you. And so Jamie Sams talks about how she sat across from the northern part of the wheel. She was sitting in the south, and the north came to her. The elders came to her, and the elder brought her over to the north to meet three spirits that gave her three items to help her to understand the spirit or the wisdom of the north. And these spirits, the first spirit that came to her was a woman, and she had a seashell with her and gifted Jamie Sams with this seashell. And that female spirit says to Jamie, she said, this shell is the power of listening to Mother Earth, her creature beings, and her children. Through listening, you may come to know wisdom. Through listening, you may come to know wisdom. And that's part of the communication that the Western society, we have an issue with really listening, because many times when someone's talking to us, we're only partially listening because we're busy trying to formulate a response or offer a solution, right? And we're not really paying attention, really attentive to that other person. So truly listening, whether it's a two-legged, another human, or whether it's one of our other relatives in nature, is that we stop and we actually listen to them. And so that was the first gift coming out of the north. And when you think about the north and that time of year and how things slow down, it naturally slows down. We have snowstorms, we have colder weather. No matter where you live, you could be living in Arizona, and on December, January is much different than June. It's cooler, right? It might not be the frigid cold that we get up here up north, but it's still cold. And so the qualities, the characteristics of the north help us to slow down. Now, the second spirit. Good morning, Jocelyn. So glad you guys are with me this morning. The second spirit that came to her was it was a grandfather. It was a male, and this male brought the gift of a tomahawk with him. And so, for those who might not know what a tomahawk is, it's kind of like a hatchet. It's got a very sharp edge on one side, and a smaller, lesser sharp edge on the other, and it's got a wooden handle usually on it. And so this tomahawk, this grandfather was sharing with her in this vision about a warrior, a leader, knows when to put the hatchet down. And it's actually a symbol of peace when you put the hatchet down. You know, there's an old saying, and I used to think maybe it was more Hollywood, but there's an old saying about burying the hatchet, right? And that is actually a symbol or a sign of peace and forgiveness, and that the willingness to get along, right? And so that wisdom comes from, she says that this tomahawk represents the peacemaker who knows when to bury the hatchet and forgive, when to defend the truth. It is through proper use of truth, forgiveness, and humility that you may also know wisdom. You know, and isn't that the crux of it, isn't it? Is recognizing truth and what it feels like when you're standing in your own truth, or when you're experiencing someone else standing in their own truth. And the hatchet being actually a symbol of a peacemaker when they put it down. I thought that's brilliant, really. You know, it's a good way to experience it. Good morning, Pamela. I'm so glad you're with us today. Yeah, we're talking about the card draw of the day is the North Shield, and it's about wisdom and gratitude. And the power animal that's in the north for Jamie Sams in the medicine wheel that she studied is the white buffalo. Okay, and it's the north is about elders for her. And so she was having this vision, and she was gifted 3 items from the spirit or the medicine of the north, the shield of the north. And so I just explained the second one. The third one actually came from the white buffalo calf woman, came to visit her, and was explaining to Jamie that the pipe, the chanupa, the sacred pipe, is really a symbol of balanced shields, meaning the balance of male and female. Okay, and so when you think about a pipe, any pipe, and especially a sacred item like the chanupa, is that you have the stem. The stem of the pipe is represents the male energy, right? And the bowl of the pipe represents the female. And so when you put the pipe together, you bring both elements together to create a whole. It's in balance, and it's in that balance that is the sacredness and the ability to offer the prayers that we do through that holy item. And the white buffalo calf woman went on to tell her that the red road and blue road, that's the Seneca belief, and of being grateful for the beauty of great mystery and the perfect plan. And so the third path is about gratitude and prayers of thankfulness. And to me that was like a validation, a confirmation of how many years have we all been studying and working really hard to heal our emotional and mental traumas, our traumas in general, so that we can vibrate closer to that our unique vibration that we came in with, our soul song, right? And this is a validation saying that gratitude and gratefulness, being thankful, will bring you wisdom. And we do that all the time. We talk about being grateful. We talk about being appreciative, right? And so to me, it made me smile and think, yeah, we're on the right path. This is Spirit of the North. And so she goes on to explain what her vision was like. And when she received the gifts, she thought that she was going to be going back to, the 3D reality, the reality that she was living in. But instead what Spirit did was they took her up. Okay, now she's sitting in a medicine wheel with the elders from the north. She went to the sacred fire, and she thought that she was going to be taken back into her physical body to experience her reality, right? That's not what happened. They took her up. They took her up, and she was met by the universal medicine wheel and found herself sitting in the south, facing the north, and facing the star beams that represent what we call the Spirit of the North, or the medicine of the North. And when I read that, I thought, makes perfect sense to me. I experienced the medicine wheel in the physical sense. It is a circle, right? In the energetic sense, it's a spiral, and it's spiral that goes up. And that's why when we feel like, oh, heal that, done that, finish that, and then some other time in your life, the same or similar situation comes up that you thought you healed, and you think, well, what the heck? What did I do? I thought I was done with this. Thing is that you have to heal in all your bodies, your mental, your physical, your spiritual, and your emotional, all your bodies, and in different dimensions of that. So yes, we might heal it here in the third dimension, but as it spirals up, we have another opportunity to learn from the same lesson, but at a higher frequency, right? So it's kind of like fine tuning or polishing it up, really. And so we can either look at it as um, a victim, right? Oh my gosh, I got to do this again. I have to do this again. Look what's happening to me, and come from, the feelings of it being done to you, rather than looking at it as an opportunity to learn the next piece of it, the next level of it. And so that's what she was shown, and she was shown that the star beings that met her were from many different places. They looked very, very different. Many of them didn't even look human. They were shocking to her. And so it was that experience that she came to realize that just because something looks really different or very strange to you, they're still a part of the creation. They're still our relative, even though they look quite different, right? Sometimes quite shocking. And I was thinking about something that my mom, and she's 98, she's going to be 99, and she does not understand why people do the things that they do to their bodies, the piercings, the thing, the earrings, the holes that they're stretched and they put the disc in, or the brow piercings, and she goes, I don't understand that. And she said why they would do that to their bodies, and she sees it on television, so there's some Hollywood stuff to it too, and so she said, I don't know what I would do if I met somebody that came to me in real life that looked like that had all the pins, the safety pins, and those kinds of things, And I was thinking, reading this, is that so many times we think when something looks familiar to us and it looks like us, that it's acceptable, that we can relate to it. And then when something that doesn't look anything like that, we put it in a completely different category before we even get to know that being. And so I thought, this is the way the star beings came in for Jamie Sams to experience them, was quite revealing. She says that the sacred path of universal wisdom also has to do with our ability to accept the unusual or bizarre with grace and understanding. And I have to agree with her. She says the revelation of the teaching of the North Shield is that the North is at the top of our medicine wheel, and beyond that is the South, or beginning of the new medicine wheel that is in the place of the ancestors. Beyond the north of that wheel is the south of the beginning of the universal medicine wheel. And that we're constantly evolving. We're not static. We're constantly evolving and moving toward toward the oneness, the wholeness, right? Toward the one, which is the creator. She goes on to say, remember that there is no limitations when you reach the place of wisdom. The secrets are no longer meant to be kept from those with ears to hear and eyes to see. And that's another validation. That when we are responsible for our own side of the street in our experiences, a situation, when we look at, okay, what is it that I'm experiencing here that I'm supposed to pay attention to, that I'm supposed to look at for myself to heal, and especially when it's a situation with another person, and it might be a misunderstanding or a disagreement, and being human, and having an ego, usually that's the first place we start from, right? But if you can, not to ignore it, don't ignore it, is to turn your attention to it and look at it. What part of this is triggering my ego, and why? And then when you can, to take a wider look at it, from maybe another perspective, that's about the healing. That's about taking care of our own stuff. Because every life lesson and the way I've experienced it is a two-way street. It's my experience and the other person's experience, but I can't do anything about theirs. I can't make them do anything to learn it, unlearn it, to not do it, to do it. We have no control over that. But we do have control over how we, yourself, has that experience. And so I believe that's what she's writing about here, is that the secrets are no longer meant to be kept from those with ears to hear and eyes to see, which I think is pretty good. All that from the spirit of the North Shield, about wisdom and gratitude. And when we get that, is that, you know what that's like? When you're going through a situation, a life lesson, and all of a sudden you understand it. Now, it could take a while. Sometimes it happens right away. And many times you don't get to see it until you're completely on the other side of it. And that could take weeks, months, sometimes even years. And when you look at it, you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's what that was about. And you get that aha moment, or that light that goes on, right? And then we have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for how it unfolded, and what we learned from it. All right, so Jamie Sam goes on to say, in the application of the card, she says, wisdom is coming your way. Yay. If you have chosen the North Shield card, you are now being asked to show gratitude for those new understandings in order to continue the growth process. Gratitude. Wisdom is one way in which you can experience the natural order of the universe and in how it applies to your life. Wisdom is an inner knowing that can't be traded, sold, or even stolen from you. No one can take it from you. Knowing is truth that has been experienced in your life. The North Shield tells you that you have learned a lesson, and derived from it a sense of self that will serve you for the rest of your life. The successful completion of this lesson should be marked by prayers and thanksgiving, or acknowledged in gratitude. In doing so, you will have completed the circle of the sacred hoop and honored the source of that truth. Remember that the gift of wisdom is in the heart of the recipient and remains alive as long as it's honored as a blessing. Perfect. And I'm I'm going, yay! The life lesson has been completed and wisdom has been gained. So whatever you're experiencing, whatever this card, this information brought up for you in your own life, take a look at that. What was the lesson that you learned around it? Was it recent? I'm sure many people in our community, in the Star Nations community, would be grateful immediately, being thankful. But maybe to experience this is when you turn your mind to it and your heart to it, is to actually say it again. Thank you. Thank you for the gift that I received and the gaining the wisdom that I did through this situation. I appreciate it. And thanking your spiritual team, those that help you, your teachers, your allies, your angels, your guides, your power animals, your totems, every one of your spiritual team that assisted you in completing that life lesson, learning what you learned, and being grateful for it, right? And preparing you for the next experience. See, You can tell I'm an optimist. It's like, all right, I got that. How is that going to help in my next experience? What's the next experience? And many times we've already started it. There's already, the energy is already flowing in that direction. And so I think it's good stuff. All right. Yeah, Jill's saying, yay. Pamela, grateful for the gift of wisdom. Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that our earth walk, our medicine walk here, is about mastering our gifts. It's about applying our gifts and our talents, our acquired education to our life lessons. That's what it's about. Soul growth. And being here on Earth, on Grandmother Earth, and having this experience with her is not for the faint of heart. Not even close. It is not an elementary school. This is a graduate, master's degree, PhD level experience. And if we were not prepared and able to do this, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. Our soul contract wouldn't have been approved, stamped and approved and blessed for us to be here. No. Some other soul would be in our place. So we're capable. We're capable of gaining the wisdom. And the thing is that for me, the hardest part is getting out of my own way. Yeah. I learned that lesson very well in 2017, is to be able to have my ego, to learn how to put it aside. It's still there, still need it, but it's not leading the show anymore. It's not leading the pack. No. No. And I remind myself every single day, I'm experiencing my life through my heart. My soul is leading. My soul is leading. And so how do we lead this? What are we supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be doing through this? So, Pamela, everything is a gift, both trials and blessings. So in all things, give thanks. Absolutely. That is spot on, Pamela, spot on. And, in the Star Nations community, I think that we receive a lot of confirmations and validations, right? And I think that many of us are very open to and aware of synchronicities and when those occur. All the cards, the repeats of the cards that we've been having in the past couple of weeks. No coincidence. It's not an accident that we had to take a deeper look into those aspects of those cards. And in fact, last night, I actually used some of that information. I did. Someone contacted me. They needed a little help, a little assistance, helping to understand something if I had an insight to it. And I just said, the stone people have been front and center in so many ways in the last couple of weeks. Have you taken a look at what stones or crystals that can help you? And so we went over that a little bit, and darned if there wasn't a crystal that helped her. And so, those are the things we give thanks for, right? Right. And the storytelling has been, because the stones are record keepers, right? The stone people. And we've been having stuff about storytelling for a couple of weeks now too. And if you haven't caught the show from yesterday with Amantha Murphy, my interview with her, please do. She talked about some fascinating information coming out of the old Irish, that there was a couple of aha moments for me with that, and what she shared, and especially about the Druids, the Irish Druids. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, give it a try. There might be something in there for you, right? All right. How about if we did a little bit of the closing with the poem that Jamie Sam writes for every card. We'll show you one more time. Here's the card. the North Shield. It's about wisdom. It's about wisdom and gratitude. All right, so here's the poem. North Shield. Sacred place of the elders. In gratitude I sing your praise. Sacred buffalo, white as driven snow, hold my heart until the end of my days. Ah, I like that one. Hold my heart until the end of my days. I like it. I like that too. So take from the information that was shared through this card, discern it for yourself. Take what feels good to you, that resonates with you, and what doesn't, just let it go. It wasn't meant for you. That part of the information, but the parts that did resonate with you, see how your day unfolds and how that information was relevant for you to know today. And with that, we learn so much about ourselves and about the world around us, right? About the relatives all around us. All right. With that, tonight we have a show. Polly Jo LeBay has her show, the live stream show, Soul Connections, at 7 p.m. Eastern, at 6 p.m. Central. Now that particular show with, and we really even don't like describing it as a show so much, because it really is an hour of healing. Divine messages is what she calls it. Polly Jo's, part of her mission here is to heal the healer. And so Wednesday night is all about a healing meditation where she holds the sacred space for us so that we can work with our individual spiritual teams on an intention for ourselves. For instance, if you're working on healing a part of your body, if you are working on removing blocks or barriers to experiencing and using your gifts at 100%, it's mine. You can work on that with your team, and you learn quite a bit from your team, from it. And so it's about healing the healer. So if you're a light worker of any kind and have not taken the time to take care of yourself and to do your own healing, you might want to come and see if this might be for you. Soul Connections at 7 p.m. tonight. And you can find that at Chakra Sessions fan page, okay, with Polly Jo. All right, good. You guys, I get to mail out a drum I made the other day. I think that was on Saturday. I made a drum, a buffalo spirit drum for someone, and I get to mail it out to her today and get to share that with her, that process. So Wednesday's a good day. Enjoy your Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow back here for tomorrow's card draw, okay? Thank you for being with me this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bama Mina. Until we see each other again.